You want to see something long and hard? Right? Today's Saturday, July 17th? 17th, 9 a.m. And we, as in we, I mean me and Heather, the crazy adventurer that likes to follow me around sometimes.
Don't know what I'm thinking.
We are at Maligne Lake on a beautiful morning. We got up at 4 o'clock in the morning just to get here because you don't want to be on this lake in the afternoon because it gets quite wild. And we are not a tour group, so we cannot be like those guys and have a gas-powered engine on a lake in a national park. So we're basically in Maligne Lake and we are off on a backcountry camping expedition using the big blue canoe. And now I'm thinking that maybe, not this year, maybe next year, we're gonna need to upgrade this canoe to something slightly better that can carry more gear, which I'm actually surprised how it kind of sits pretty good in the water. Pretty good the way that we got it loaded. I got it to under 500 pounds. We're going out to Fisherman's Bay to camp for one night, and then we're going to the other end of Maligne Lake at Coronet Creek, and we're gonna go camp there for a night as well. It rained all morning. Literally, it just stopped raining just as we got here, so this is kind of perfect, and I was gonna take off right away. Then when I seen that tour boat take off, I just wanted to let the waves come and hit us before we get off. And to bring a canoe, you'll literally want to be here at like 9 a.m. and go, like what we're at today, because we noticed that historically on the winds that anything after 2-3 p.m. The lake can get extremely choppy, so you want to be doing all your traveling here. I didn't do much for modifications to the canoe this time. There's not a whole lot. I've done so many modifications with a trolling motor mount at the back and the battery mount, and now I actually changed the type of battery so it doesn't even fit in there anymore. That metal piece there used to hold the battery, but now the batteries that I buy are too big, they don't fit in there, so this thing just sits, and I use a seat so I can sit a little bit higher, and then gives me access to the back. So we got wet bags here for our camping gear, our mats, our packs, because we're going to be hiking as well. We got some chairs, and we got some food, and that's pretty much it. I have one fully charged battery at the front, so hopefully we can use that to get there. And then I got a secondary battery at the back here to come back. It might be a bit overkill, but I'm thinking that one battery isn't enough. And hopefully this will give me a good judge of what I need to bring for next year if I want to do this again. We're off in a few minutes here on Maligne Lake. Peace out. An hour and a half in, almost exactly. And we've gotten about 7 or 8 kilometers here done on the lake. And we got the marvelous trolling motor. It's not too fast, but we're not paddling, and we're actually going significantly faster than everybody else on the lake who started this morning that's paddling around. We can almost see the break over there where Fisherman's Bay is. So the lake is kind of big, and then you hit the 13-ish kilometer mark, 14 kilometer mark, and you'll have like a pinch point where it gets really narrow, and that's where one of the campsites are. And when you go through that, you'll get to the famous Spirit Island, which we'll take videos and pictures of. There's Mount Leia that's in behind us over there. And then on this side, yeah, and there's Mount Samson. It's right in behind me here. So one's at 2,800, the other one's at 3,000 meters. I found a hitchhiker along the way. So she just hopped in, and she's having a nap. I think she's comfortable now. I think she was a bit freaked out about the canoe, that maybe she was gonna fall and die, but now she's like almost taking a nap, so we almost got her comfortable. And then Well, we made it to Fisherman's Bay. Quite the place to come and check out. Definitely would suggest anybody to come if they ever get the chance to come camping out here. It took us over 2 hours. So 2 hours and 10 minutes, roughly. Just over 2 hours to get here, but we paddled for literally zero amount of time. I figured I would show you guys around. So there is actually at the far end over there, there's a little dock, and they don't want you using the dock permanently. So we stopped there and we came and checked it out, and then we decided to come bring our canoe all the way here. We're just gonna park this there instead. What I liked about it is that gigantic glacier at the back there. It's just an amazing view. Amazing view of the whole thing here, really. Show you guys the amazing view right now. So we are on, I think it's campsite number 3. There's actually 8 of them here. And don't look at the map when you come in, because the numbers on there make no sense. The map is completely off. And this is gonna be our home just for tonight. Actually, we were able to fit all of this stuff in here. We got one chair there, got another chair there. I still have my pack in there. Heather's got her pack in here. We even got a hammock that we haven't set up yet. And we just have 2 drop down mats and some sleeping bags in here. I kind of like this tent. It's perfect for this because there's a big opening at the front here, just for the weather. We don't necessarily need to bring a tarp to put it over top. We did bring a tarp anyways, mainly for shade, and we can also use the tarp just to cover stuff in the canoe if we literally needed to travel. Spirit Island. I almost forgot the name for a second there. I've been making jokes about Spirit Island and how it's going to lift our spirits to see the Spirit Island and the whole 9 yards. And we're a little bit underwhelmed with Spirit Island. I mean, it's pretty and all, but it's just that little island right over there. And it's not even quite fully an island. You can tell that there's green, but we were more impressed with the view at the end of the dock here of the Coronet Creek, and then the end of the lake is at the far end, and we'll be checking that out tomorrow. But we decided to come and check out Spirit Island here first, just to get a good view in the sense of what's going on here. And they have a nice little infrastructure here with tour boats. And there's a couple of docks here. A couple of docks, and then there's a bunch of solar panels and some, what do you think that is? Like an outhouse? Bathrooms maybe? Right at the far end back there. And then there's a little trail. So we decided to come and check out the little loop that they have here for the tourists. And we've already taken a couple pictures, and they were right where it takes like pretty insanely nice pictures here. And you got little Spirit Island here in behind us with the great view of Maligne Lake in the background here. There's like a nice little trail back here to just kind of loop around and get a higher viewpoint of the island. Yeah, these are nice little steps. They just made a little bit of a loop here. And yeah. Huh. It's kind of the same view as the other side, right? Almost. Yeah. Well, we almost left this morning from Coronet Creek without showing you guys the entire campsite. And once again, once we got here, we got the campsite that was pretty much closest to the water. This one here, all the campsites, we got even our hammock here. We're just slowly packing up this morning, but we got the one that was closest to the water because we liked that there. And we got our water filtration system tree, and there's a little trail here from the campgrounds because that's the first one, and then all the other ones, there's 7 other ones, and they're pretty much in the back of me over there on that corner. And then there's a dock that's a little bit further away from here, but then if you just walk down this trail, there's actually like a group fire pit, and it's right on the side of the water. And yeah, so we got your little group fire spot right here, and our fire spot is pretty much right on the end of the lake. So that over there is the end of Maligne Lake at 7 o'clock in the morning, and the sun's coming up. Can't complain. Lake right now is like perfectly still, just perfectly still. And we got our big blue canoe back there. We're still in the middle of the big blue canoe, in the middle of big, long Maligne Lake, which is 22 kilometers long. And we've gotten through most of it. We're only about half hour away, roughly, half hour, 40 minutes. One last clip to let you guys know how our trip came out with the canoe itself. Anything that you would have brought, if I said we have another 100 pounds, she brought a very small backpack that she used for hiking, because my backpack actually weighed in at around 19 pounds, and hers, when we weighed it, it was only 13. So you could have had a slightly bigger backpack. Was there any gear that we brought that?
We probably didn't need the chairs because we sat in the hammock.
And we even fell asleep in the hammock for like 2 hours one day. But the camping chairs only weighed like 3 pounds each, so they were lightweight. When we went to the second campsite, we didn't even open them up because it is handy to have chairs when you're putting on your boots and shoes so you don't have to sit on the ground. It's a fairly small cooler, and we had like 1 bag of ice in there, but we had prepackaged all our food. All our meals were pre-planned, and everything kind of fit in there nicely. And everything, we had yogurt and berries this morning, and it was still pretty cold. So it did the job. I think if you're going for longer than 3 nights, you might have to think about not using refrigerated food for like past the 2nd or 3rd night, because then I don't think you'll be able to keep it cold. I noticed too that we weren't the only ones using a motor. A lot of people that are using the motor, they're staying though on the north side of the lake. As you can see, the red canoe behind us, they have a trolling motor. And I really didn't get to test how far you can make it on 1 battery, but we did make it all the way to the other end, to the Fisherman's Bay campsite, and then we used that same battery to get all the way to Coronet Creek. And then I switched them. Basically, we had a brand new fresh battery to come all the way back. Which campsite did you prefer?
The views were nicer at Fisherman's Cove. Like, could see the mountains and everything right from where we were.
Yeah, that's true. Fisherman's Cove, you could get closer to the lake and you had a better view of the mountains. At Coronet Creek, we were the closest one to the water. And we had a good view, decent view of the mountains, but we couldn't really see the lake too much. The only thing I hated out of this entire trip is those tour boats. They're a huge pain in the ass. They come and they create all these waves and you have to kind of dodge them. There's a lot of spots, especially in the pinch point at Fisherman's Bay, where the boats are obviously causing erosion. There wouldn't be that many waves on there, and you can tell because they create a lot of beach erosion, especially on the narrower parts. And you can see one coming up right in front of us here. So that's what we had to deal with about, once an hour. One comes out, and then there's one that comes back, then it leaves and it comes back, and then it's been a dream of mine, I think, for a couple of years. I've always looked at that lake and I'm like, man, I want to get to the other end of that lake. And I'm like, I could swim that. I'm like, oh, I need a wetsuit. It's pretty far out. So I was like, maybe I shouldn't swim that. And then I was like, oh, there's campsites here and blah, blah, blah. And I tried to find all these other stuff. And now I was like, finally this year, I'm like, you know what? We're going to do it. And I thought it would be actually more difficult than what it actually was. It was pretty easy to get out here. And there's a lot of people renting their gear here. At the far end, there's lots of rental places. There's even some inside of Jasper. They'll bring you stuff right out here and you can rent equipment. Or if you just want to see Spirit Island and back, you can do what these guys are doing. Hop on a tour boat and you get a smile, you're on YouTube. You can get all the way down there and then you don't have to worry about paddling. We're not worriing about paddling either. This little trolling motor too, it was also a test to figure out ranges for batteries. So now I know that one battery could easily last, well, 3.5 hours, because today it's been on for almost 3 hours. So it's pretty much bang on 6 kilometers an hour that I could get with this motor and these batteries on this flat lake. If anybody came to Maligne Lake to canoe and camp, what's one thing you would either give them as advice or something to bring?
I would say to go to Fisherman's Cove and then to Coronet Creek, and then on the way back stop at Fisherman's Cove again.
So maybe split the trip up of going to Fisherman's Bay one night, then going to Coronet Creek for the second night, or maybe a third night, and then coming back to Fisherman's Bay for a fourth night, because that's the most you can stay there. You can only stay there 2 nights. So this has been our 3-day trip up to the end of Maligne Lake and back. It's Eric and Heather saying bye-bye, peace out, and whatever you do, don't fall in the water.